Hello guys, happy November. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my October wrap up, all the books that I read in October. I feel like I read so many good books, and I also feel like this is the month for fantasy. Like half of the books almost that I read were fantasy books, which is just so fun. I feel like I'm in my fantasy era. Really enjoying myself here. Let's get started. So first I read Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. This is a YA fantasy and it's a standalone, which I feel like is very rare to come by. With fantasy books, they're usually in a series, but this is a standalone. And this follows, what is her name? Tana. And she is a witch. She and her coven live on this like island, and the mainlanders, who are humans, live like on the across the way basically. And Tana and her coven and the mainlanders kind of made this agreement where Tana would marry the prince. What is that his title? The governor's son. She would marry the governor's son and to kind of like appease everyone. And so that's kind of where it starts. But this book is just so cozy. Like honestly, if you're looking for a fantasy book that is not like super high stakes, there's no like fighting, there's no war, there's nothing like that, and you just want like a cozy fantasy book with some romance, I highly recommend this. I really enjoyed it. Also, I feel like the atmosphere was like described so well. It felt like magical, like so cozy and special. I really liked the descriptions, and I really like her writing. I definitely want to read her other books. She has a couple other books that came out before this one. This is her new release, and the book is stunning. I don't know if you can still get this cover, but the first print has this like cover on it, and it's so beautiful. I feel like if you like Rebecca Ross or Stephanie Garber, you would really like this book. I feel like it was very whimsical, cozy. I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was just a really enjoyable read. I also feel like if you liked H2O, the TV show, you would enjoy this, because water, the ocean, the moon kind of have a lot of like the magic and stuff kind of revolves around that. So I feel like if you like H2O, you would like this. I don't really know why. It just kind of reminded me of H2O. Just wanted to put that out there because I loved H2O. I rewatch it, you know, periodically, and it kind of reminded me of that. So really enjoyed it. I feel like I don't hear many people talk about it, but I highly recommend it. If you're wanting a fantasy that's a standalone that isn't gonna make you stressed, I think this is a good book. Now let's go into a fantasy that is not cozy, that is not really relaxed, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This is so like hyped right now. I feel like I've been seeing it everywhere, and it is about to come out in the US November 7th. So this book I got from Blackwell's. It's from the UK. It is published in the UK, but it's about to come out in the US. And this is about Peyton and Kai. It's dual POV. In the society, there's the elites and there's the ordinaries. The elites have powers, the ordinaries do not. And the ordinaries are kind of like banned from society. If you found out that you are an ordinary, that you don't have powers, you're like exiled or you're killed. And Peyton is an ordinary, but she's pretending to be an elite, like she's pretending to have a power. And then Kai is one of the princes, and he basically kills ordinaries. And that's kind of who you're following. The writing in this is so good. Like you've probably seen quotes from this book. If you haven't, just trust me, the quotes in this book, the banter, the tension, it is just so good. You're like kicking your feet giggling. It was so good. I also have a reading vlog reading this book. I did say it wasn't cozy, but I also don't think this is like, there's not like war going on, but it's just more like high stakes than the fantasy or the previous book. But I love this book so much. I cannot wait for the second one. I also feel like the plot was so interesting all the way through. Like I really enjoyed the romance. Like it was so good. It's very romance heavy, but the action and like the plot was also so interesting. It also reminded me of the Hunger Games, which I think was intentional. Like the author has said that it's like the Hunger Games and Red Queen, losing my voice, as if they had a child that just doesn't look like its parents as it grows up. So it did remind me of the Hunger Games. Some of the scenes did, which I really enjoyed because I love the Hunger Games. And overall, I just highly recommend. Like if you haven't read this, you should, because it's so good. I mean, obviously it's not out in the US, but it's about to be out in the US, but a lot of people have just been ordering it from the UK, which is what I did. But I'm so excited for it to be out in the US, and I might have to buy the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition because it's like pink flowers instead of purple. I'm obsessed with that. So anyways, if you haven't heard of this book, here you are. It was so good. A new favorite fantasy book. Very easy to understand, very interesting, fast-paced, action, romance. Kai? He has me swooning, kicking my feet. I loved it. I'm gonna scoot you back a little bit. I feel like you're really close, but I could be wrong. I could just be going crazy. Okay, next I read The Right Move by Liz Tomford, and also while I'm here, I'm gonna talk about Caught Up because I read them throughout the month. But anyways, The Right Move is in the Windy City series. It's after Mile High. I actually read part of Mile High after I read The Right Move and DNF'd it at like 150 pages in. Didn't enjoy it. So if you didn't enjoy Mile High, I think you would enjoy The Right Move because it's so much better, like eons better. It's basically about Ryan Shea, who is a NBA NBA player. He's very rich, he's very famous, like the most famous player. Like maybe think Travis Kelce right now. I don't know. Basically his sister is like, hey, can my best friend move in with you because she needs a place to stay? And it's like that kind of situation. So Indy moves in with Ryan Shea, and it's like best friend's brother, forced proximity, fake dating. It is so good. I loved it so much. And Ryan Shea is an angel. If you like acts of service, you should read this. Like if you're an acts of service girly, you should read this book. I feel like I wasn't even looking at the page numbers because I just loved it so much. I was just reading. Like I feel like sometimes you're looking at the page numbers like, how much do I have left in this chapter? How many pages do I have left till I finish? No, I was like eating up every single moment of this book, and it was so good. It is pretty spicy. I didn't say Bring Me Your Midnight is YA, Powerless is YA, so no spice, but this book is decently spicy, but I just skipped over it and enjoyed it so much. Like I love sports romance. I love a rich professional athlete MMC. What can I say? I already want to reread this book. It was so good. I loved it so much. And now I'll talk about Caught Up because I did read that this month as well. And this follows Kai, who is a single dad. He plays in the NBL. He plays professional baseball, and he is looking for a nanny for his son. And that's kind of the trope. And it was so good. I really enjoyed this one as well. I literally cried. I don't know what, I was not expecting to cry in the sports romance, but I literally did. I enjoyed it so much. It was so good. Kai is a sweetie, and I really loved the relationship between him and, what is her name? Miller. And also Miller and his son. It was so cute. Also Miller is a baker, which I also thought was very interesting. And also the way that Kai's like baseball team loved his son so much. It was so heartwarming and so sweet. I loved it. I think I'm giving it like a 4.5. The Right Move, I literally gave a 5-star. I don't know what it is. I loved Caught Up almost as much, but I feel like it just didn't have that 5-star feeling. I've been thinking about it, but not as much as I thought about The Right Move, but still really enjoyed both of them. Highly recommend these two books. I'd skip Mile High, no offense to the people that love that, and read these two because I thought they were so good. Next, I read an arc of Where We Belong by N.S. Perkins. I love N.S. Perkins. Literally all of her books I've loved so much, and this is actually a companion novel with Where Time Stands Still, which I loved so much. I read it last year, and this is following, I forgot their names, Finn and Lexi. It comes out November 21st, but basically Lexi is a gymnast, and she's trying to get to the Olympics, and she decides to like move away from her family because she's having a home life, isn't very good, and moves to this like tiny little town and rents this house where Finn lives, who like owns the property. And you see Finn in Where Time Stands Still, and they kind of had met previously and didn't really have a good like first encounter, but then, you know, they become friends, that kind of situation. In this book, I do think this was pretty heavy on the gymnastics, and so when I was reading that, I was like, I am like not understanding anything, but I feel like if you like that, this would be perfect for you because like you could totally relate. But I did really love the romance, and I really loved Finn. He was a sweetie, and he was just like so kind and sweet and would do anything for her, and I love that kind of MMC. So I did really enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars, but I didn't love it as much as Where Time Stands Still. But if you have read that, you should read this, and if you haven't read that, you should in preparation for this. But it's like a holiday kind of wintry vibe, and I still really enjoyed it. You also see the characters from Where Time Stands Still, and you also see the characters from The Infinity Between Us, which is really fun. So did enjoy it, would recommend when it comes out. Next, I read Whispers of You by Catherine Cowles, and I'm also going to talk about Echoes of You because I also read that this month, and this is in the Lost and Found series. Basically, they are small town romantic suspenses, which I really enjoy. I feel like if you like Devony Perry, the Eden series, you would like these books, you would like this author. Basically, Whispers of You is a childhood friends to lovers, a second chance romance, and I'm probably not gonna say more than that. I feel like you should go in pretty blind, but I did really enjoy this book, and I wanted to continue reading this author because I really like the small town, the characters. There's also, I think, gonna be books on all the siblings. The main male character in this book, Holt, all of his brothers, I think, get books. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I really liked those characters, and I'm excited to read their books. And I also just love the romance. Like, it was so sweet, and I also feel like Catherine's writing is really beautiful. I love how she describes things, how she describes love. Really enjoyed that. And also I just love childhood friends to lovers. It will always do it for me. I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. And then I read Echoes of You, which follows Nash, his brother, one of his brothers, and it's like best friends to lovers. They've just been best friends since they were kids. And this one I definitely would check trigger warnings because it is very prominent throughout the whole book, so I would check that. But this one, the thing is, I really loved Nash and Maddie so much. I love their friendship, I love their relationship, I love just them in general, but I also felt like it was kind of repetitive with the first book, which I've also heard there's all of them kind of blend together. They're kind of the same thing, copy and paste over and over again, but you just can't stop reading them. And also there was one thing that happened near the end that I was like, this just doesn't really make sense in my head. I don't know. It just didn't make sense. I was like, I just don't think this would actually happen. I almost felt like some stuff was far-fetched. I don't know. Anyways, I did enjoy it, but I almost feel like I didn't like the plot as much as the first one, but I liked the characters more, maybe? I don't really know. But I did really enjoy both of them. I think I'm going to definitely continue the series. You're also kind of on the edge of your seat because they are suspenses, romantic suspenses, which I really enjoy. So I did enjoy them. Probably give Echoes of You like a 3.5, but I really am enjoying the series and I'm excited to continue it. Oh, I missed a book in between Where We Belong and Whispers View. I read Hopeless by Elsie Silver, which is the last book in the Chestnut Spring series. Did not love this one. This one follows Bo and Bailey. I did really like Bailey. I thought she was just so funny. Like, she would just say things and it was just hilarious. Like, I would crack up. But I felt like it was just so heavy on the physical. I was like so sad because I feel like the first 3 books I loved so much. I did not like Reckless. I gave it like 2 stars. Didn't like it at all. But I really like was hopeful for this one because I did like Bo. I wanted to know more about him because it's kind of like a military kind of situation where he was in the military. And I liked the fake engagement and the forced proximity, but I just felt like it was so physical, so spicy. Like, it was just absolutely absurd that I couldn't. I was just like, no, I don't want to read this. But I did finish it. I give it like 3 stars probably because it was okay. Maybe a 2.5. I don't know. I didn't really love it. I liked it more than Reckless. Reckless was an absolute no. So I don't know. And I know Elsie Silver is known for her spice. Like, I'm aware of that. But I just felt like it was so spicy in the first 3. Like, maybe I just loved the characters more, so I just overlooked it. But like, even skipping over the spice, it was just too much. So anyways, that's all. Let's move on. Next, we have some fantasy. So I read the entire Prison Healer trilogy. So it's the Prison Healer, the Gilded Cage, and the Blood Trader. I really, really love this trilogy. It's a YA fantasy trilogy about Cuba. And in the first book, she is a prison healer in this prison called, what is it called? Zalandov. And it's like a death prison. You can't escape, that kind of situation. And she's like the doctor at the prison. And you're just following her throughout the books. And I really, really loved it. I don't know what I would rate them. I almost want to say like, I don't know. I want to give the first 2 either 4.25 or 4.5 because I really, really love them. But I feel like the first half is kind of slow to get into and then it really picks up at the end. But I also just really love the characters that I like didn't mind it. I was just like hanging out with them, learning more about them, learning more about the past and stuff. But Blood Trader was crazy all the way through, but I also don't think I would give it a 5-star. I think like a 4.75, but I did really, really love these books. I thought they were so good. I feel like there's so many twists and turns. I did guess a lot of them in the first book, but I also think it's because so many people are like, there's so many twists and turns. So I was just thinking about every possible scenario, but one of them like absolutely shocked me. But I did like really enjoy this. I think you should definitely read it if you're looking for like a YA fantasy trilogy. And I also think I clearly flew through it. It was so good. I love the characters. I love the romance. It's very much like a romance subplot. I feel like the main plot is like more than the romance, but there's still a good bit of romance in it, which I really loved. And I love the found family with these characters. It was so sweet, so cute, and I just loved it so much. There was multiple characters that I just love so much, and I feel like I'll remember them just for, you know, the future. Like, I really, really love them. I also felt like the setting was very interesting, and I just really, really enjoyed them all the way through. So I highly recommend this fantasy trilogy if you haven't read it. If you've been seeing it everywhere, I think it's fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. I feel like it would be like a go-to fantasy recommendation because it's very easy to understand, very interesting, very fun, and the twists will have you on the edge of your seat. So good. Next, I've read A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I'm like trying not to touch it because this material gets your fingerprints all over it, and I don't want my fingerprints all over it. So this is the 3rd book after Once Upon a Broken Heart and The Ballad of Never After. I feel like I didn't love those 2 as much as most people did, like, but I was also kind of in a slump when I read those. So, but I gave Once Upon a Broken Heart a 4-star and The Ballad of Never After a 4.5. The end of The Ballad of Never After made me so excited for this book. Like, I've been waiting for months for this book to come out because I needed to breathe. I feel like I haven't breathed. That's so dramatic. Since I read The Ballad of Never After, so I was so excited for this book to come out. And personally, I think it lived up to every expectation that I had. Like, it was just so magical. I read it in like 2 sittings, basically 1, honestly. Like, I read 60 pages, ate lunch, and then read the rest of the day, and I loved it so much. Like, it was so magical. I also feel like Stephanie Garber popped off with the writing in this book. Like, I guess I don't remember the writing in the other two, but this one like was so good. Like, so many of the quotes, I was like, you're kidding. It was so good. There's been like some, I feel like, controversy or like just opinions online of like some things about this book, and I honestly like loved every moment of it. Like, I think Stephanie Garber did what she set out to do, and I loved like everything about it. I feel like it was everything I hoped for, and I finished it like giddy. Like, I was just obsessed. So I loved it so much. I feel like it's gonna be like one of my favorite books of the year, truly, because I can't stop thinking about it. Like, I loved it so much. I ordered the UK cover because I have a problem, and it's also stunning. Like, I just need to put this up here so you can see it. This is the UK cover, stunning. So I'm so excited for that to come in. But yeah, I loved it. It was magical. It was just perfect. If you don't know, it is a like fairy tale fantasy following Evangeline, and you just follow her throughout the 3 books and what happens and all this stuff. But it very much feels like if you were to watch like a fairy tale movie or something in your head. It's great. I can respect people's opinions, but I also think this was perfect. So that's my opinions. Loved it so much. Cannot wait for my UK cover to come in. Okay, lastly, I read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I actually put this in my TBR cart choosing my reads because I filmed that like at the end of the month, and then I read this like a couple days later before the end of October. And yeah, I read it in like one day, basically. So it's basically about this girl named Cassie, and she is a like natural at reading people. She can just like look at someone, what they're wearing, what they do, and just like know about them. It's kind of crazy. And so she is enlisted by the FBI to like solve cold cases. It's like Criminal Minds but with kids, basically, or like teenagers. And you're just following her and the rest of the naturals, and it was very, very interesting and very fun. I feel like so quick to read. Like, I read this so fast, and it was just so interesting. I love a mystery. It's like a YA mystery. Did I say that? I love a mystery that'll keep me on the edge of my seat, that's interesting, that's not gonna scare me, because I feel like some, like, I don't read thrillers because I'm scared, but this one was just really, really interesting and fast-paced, enjoyable. I like the characters. There's also a little bit of a romance in here. I like the found family that we're building with the characters. Very excited to continue this series. It's like a 4-book series, but really enjoy this one. I have the second one over here that I've started, but I just haven't finished it yet. Hi. Okay. Literally just throwing the book. Anyways, I gave it 4 stars. Really, really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to continue the series. Okay, that is all the books that I read in October. I hope you enjoyed. I would love to hear what you read in October. And I'm so excited for all the books I want to read in November, the holiday books that are going to come in December. I'm just so excited for all the books the rest of the year. We have 2 months left. That is crazy. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you very soon for my next one. Bye.